Okay, so let's go ahead and take our solenoid out here. He's up underneath this plate. Black plates and blue plates, depending on the year of the car. Oh boy, am I going to be able to get this thing off of here or not? There we go. Okay. And we still have a couple more things to do, but this guy's coming off now, and we'll get him out of here. Now there's a ball bearing inside this. It's a 3/16 ball bearing. That's 0.187 in thickness. And there's also a ball bearing in the oil pump, which is a different size. And you can't get them mixed up. You can get them mixed up, but you should not. So here's our solenoid. We are going to just drop this guy away here, and then here's the top part of the solenoid here, and we're going to go over to the bench, and I'll show you how all this stuff comes apart. So Brooks is going to show us how this all works here by bringing the camera in. So here's what I call the top hat. There's two different varieties of these. Here's the 3/16 ball bearing. We can check it with our micrometer. Well, if we're careful, we can. And we find that it's 1.1875. There, in fact, it is. So we know it's a 3/16 ball bearing. We got our plunger here that goes inside the solenoid. He moves nicely in there. Again, these O-rings have just been changed. So we've got all our pieces. It's all cleaned up. I've already sprayed it off with a carburetor cleaner and with compressed air. Now we're going to go ahead and reassemble it right here, just briefly, quickly. I do want to use a little bit of oil here, if I can get some in here. Oil's nice. And we are going to have this over here, along with the screws that hold them in place. The solenoid is dangling underneath in the car. You'll see it in a minute. So let's go back over and take the oil pump out. Okay, so here we are underneath the car. I'm going to take off our screwdriver slotted pickup just so he's out of the way. We'll clean him up. And the goal is to get it all apart underneath here so that when we go to clean it out with carburetor cleaner, this guy, if the last person who put it together didn't go crazy, which they didn't, then this all comes right out so easily. And here's our oil pump here. Sometimes to get this pin off on the bottom, these two holes, sometimes you've got to use all kinds of tricks to get that apart. I'll show you another tool before we're done here. So anyway, here's the solenoid up underneath here. Here's the solenoid, and here's our case, and this is all open and empty. So we're going to clean the oil pump, and then we'll come back and clean the housing, and then we'll put it all back together. So here we are back over at the bench. We're going to clean up our oil pump here. Again, we're not going to change the O-rings because we just got done changing those. This is the oil pump itself. We want to make sure that the oil pump fits in the oil pump housing with no galling at all. Sometimes this sticks down. When this sticks down, obviously then there's no pressure that can be created. That's not the problem here. But if it does stick down, then you have to take it apart and pull it apart and polish up this surface with, as we did before, polish up this surface here, and then it'll all fit. It's not too uncommon to have that sticking down. Of course, when it sticks down, then there's no possibility that the unit is going to work. Here's the ball bearing that goes in here, and that is a 7/32 ball bearing. So it's a little bit larger than the other one, but it is possible to confuse the two, and then it doesn't work. Anyway, so I'm going to use my compressed air and clean this stuff off just a bit. Cleanliness is next to godliness, and we'll put him back together here just temporarily and put him over here with the rest of our stuff. So what we've done here, we've got everything all set to go to reinstall. All the pieces are all nice and clean. Put him down, I guess. And now we're going to go back over underneath the car with our air blaster and our carburetor cleaner and really clean out the passageways in the overdrive unit itself. If I was going to show you how long this took, we'd be here watching me use carburetor cleaner and air for about 5 minutes, because I'm really going to get this thing clean. But I just want to show you, we're going to spray up inside all the passageways and then use our compressed air and go up in here and blow this thing out until it's really, really, really clean. Especially at the very top of the oil pressure relief valve, which is where our problem lies, because this thing cannot vent its extra pressure. So that's where that 3/4 inch nut went up inside there. I'm going to spend some time making sure that that's all nice and clean. And as soon as I'm done, we'll come back, we'll quick assemble the thing back up. Here we got the oil pressure relief valve assembled carefully and correctly. That is where the problem was. I'm sure it was. So we're going to get this guy up into place. We'll snug all this stuff down once we get it in place. Only appropriate that we should have the Beatles playing in the background, I guess. So there we go. All right. Now the next thing we're going to get is the solenoid.